guitar pedals. I like them, but it's probably safe to say that there's more on the market now than ever before. Right now, on Thomann, they stock near 700 different overdrive and distortion pedals. That's just gain. There's a lot, which means that it takes something a little bit unusual to really stand out. And sorry, I think I'm getting a phone call. I bought this when it came out because I knew I just had to make a video on it. It was so unusual and different, and it is very different from a lot of other guitar pedals on the market. For one reason, it's not specifically designed for guitars. You can use it for guitars, but it's not specifically just for that instrument. And it's got some differences because of that you wouldn't normally see on a guitar pedal. For example, the vintage rotary phone built into it. And it's not just for show either. So this is a kill switch pedal, probably the most advanced / cool of its kind, but it's not just that, it's also a fuzz. So let's start there before we get to the whole phone thing. There's 3 controls for the fuzz: V for volume, the X knob blends the fuzz in from almost dry to fuzz. I say almost because even when it's rolled off completely, there is still just a hint of fuzz there. And the F knob is the blend of fuzzes themselves. There's 2. You can go from a tame fuzz and blend it in all the way up to a much more harsh fuzz, or a mix of both. So that's pretty cool in itself, but let's be honest, you didn't click on this video because this looked like a fuzz pedal. This was made by Magpie Pedals, which is YouTuber Simon the Magpie's pedal company. He builds a wide variety of experimental and crazy pedals. This is just one such example from the lineup. The elephant in the room with this pedal is the rotary phone built into it, and this comes from a vintage Swedish rotary phone, and that does sort of make the production of these pedals limited because there are only so many phones of those out there, and they are very important to be this specific type of phone because the red button here is what was used to hang up the phone initially. So, kill switch pedal. Let's probably talk about how it kills the signal. There are 2 different manual ways, and then there's other ways which we'll get to, but we'll start with the manuals. First way is with the rotary phone itself. So this option probably isn't too practical for guitar players. You're probably going to have your pedals on the floor, you'd have to reach down, you also are probably using both hands while playing. It's going to be difficult, but then again, these pedals aren't specifically made for guitar players. Simon's also a synth guy, so I could see how this would be much more practical if you had a synth and it was on a desktop and you just had your hands free to use the rotary part. I just like doing it. But there's also another way of manually killing the signal, and that's with the big red button. The other manual way of killing the signal is with the big red button, and this can be pressed with a foot because it just peaks above the level of the pedal, so your foot can press on it. But in saying that, if you were mounting this to a pedal board, you wouldn't be able to mount it this way because the knobs and foot switch would get in the way of your foot, so you'd probably have to mount it sideways, and then you could do it. So a slight downside there, but space is a factor in this because a huge part of this unit is taken up by the mechanics of the phone. It's also worth mentioning that the red button is plastic, so I wouldn't be too comfortable just stomping on it, especially with shoes and especially for long amounts of time. You can do it, but you're risking breaking a piece of equipment which is probably hard to get some replacement parts for. So again, win for the desktop synth, not so much of a win for a guitar player, but guitar players, don't count this out just yet. We haven't got to the trick that's up its sleeve. But before we get to that, we should probably mention the other red button on this unit. This inverts the signal, so instead of it being a live signal that you can kill with presses or rotary, it inverts that to a completely dead signal, and the signal comes alive with presses of the button or the rotary. It's just an added cool feature, and it can be used with the loop. What's the loop, you ask? Well, that's the bit that appeals to guitar players. So far the stuff I've been showing you has been all the manual stuff, the rotary or the big red button, and that's probably not best suited if you're a guitar player who've got this mounted to a pedal board. That's all in red mode. If you hold the foot switch down for a few seconds, it'll go into green mode, and that is loop mode. It's a very clever mode which allows you to loop a pattern of kills that you input with the big red button. It doesn't work with the rotary bit, just the big red button. But you can input a pattern of up to 10 different presses, and that will loop in the pedal. And then with this little knob here, you can control the time of the loop, so you can speed it up or you can make it go very slow. And also this knob lights up when the signal is being killed. And remember, whatever pattern you put in, you can also invert it with the button on the top. Now, guitar players in general don't deviate too much from the standard, and the standard use of a kill switch is a stutter, so it's or whatever speed of just single input cuts. And you can loop a pattern like that in this too. So now what you have is an automatic kill switch pedal. You turn it on, it does the killing, you turn it off, it doesn't. And this just allows you to have fun with it and create kind of music that you wouldn't be able to normally when you'd be having to focus on doing the kill switching, playing the guitar, doing something else. Here you can move around, you can use a talk box, for example. And of course, along with all the kill switch stuff, you can just add some fuzz in. Or you can use it as a standard fuzz pedal, which looks anything but standard. It's kind of crazy. And I almost forgot, this is the power input 9 volt, but this here is a clock input. Now that's not something that you'd really see on guitar stuff, but it's probably infinitely more useful with synths, where you can input a clock time from the synth so everything stays in time with each other, but that's just another feature. So overall, I just like how crazy and different and unusual it is. Is it completely optimized for guitar? No. But is it very fun and cool? Yes. And I like that. It's just fun. It makes me happy to see that someone out there is doing something a little bit different. It's not just a copy. There's so many clones and stuff in pedals, and that's just kind of how it is. This is not a clone. So that's the video. Just to make clear, this is not sponsored. I bought this. I paid full price. This belongs to me. If you liked the video, you can like it. If you want to see more stuff, subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.